All right, everybody. I am Angie from the Montpelier Library, and this is
Katie Taylor,
from.
the University of St. Francis.
So she has been helping us out this summer, and we've been doing this little series. It's a series now. I mean, this is the fourth one, so it's a series on young adult books. And today we're going to hit on
Characters and themes in YA books.
Sweet. So take it away.
I guess I should say I'm also from Montpelier. For starters, I graduated from Montpelier High School too.
They probably assumed that since not a lot of people come here from
Fort Wayne. Yeah.
you know.
No,
Yeah, I'm from St. Francis University. I just happened to drop in one day and thought these people were cool, so I hang out with them.
They've been really nice to let me come in and volunteer here for the summer for a project, so that's why I say I'm from the University of St. Francis. Cause
it was rough.
It's been a lot of fun. But I guess to start off with the characters, we've kind of talked about themes and stuff with them, but a lot of the characters themselves have parts about their personality that most people don't have. Usually there's like a disability or something in their background that I would say the average person doesn't come in contact with on the daily basis. So then it's a way to experience new things that you wouldn't necessarily experience, as well as to help with understanding and acceptance and just awareness of different things that are out there.
I think that the YA category lends itself to that. They've kind of taken on that role of emphasizing certain disabilities or anything like that, which I think is a good thing, because with that age group, that's a great time to, let them know, hey, you're no different than the rest of us. This is,
definitely.
Yeah. And I think you definitely find a lot of that in the YA.
Right. And then also, like, a lot of the books set in high school, they're always bullied. And I think part of that is because that happens to, like, literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And while it shouldn't, a lot of times when it's happening to you, you, like, feel like you're the only one it happens to. And so it happens to everybody. And I think that's part of it. It's good for that.
And it's interesting to see, and I know you see this on some of the teen area TV shows as well, the ones who maybe we nerds would have thought are the popular group, they feel like they're bullied in certain ways as well. So it's just, that whole everyone thing, it's everyone.
Yeah, I feel like, especially like in older TV shows, it's very, these are the popular kids and these are the nerds. It's very divided, and as part of life and things like that, you realize not everything's such strict lines with everything. Everybody crosses over, and I think a lot of these books really kind of push that, like, nobody fits a specific mold, kind of.
It kind of just falls back onto every person has their own perspective.
Yeah.
Who I think a popular person is, the popular person may be thinking, well, that's not, they think the other person is the popular person. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so I guess I was going to touch on the different character aspects in different books and series. And so I know I mentioned before that in the Michael Vey series that the main character has Tourette's. And so that raises awareness and understanding as to, like, how that affects different people and stuff like that. That's in, where did it go? In the Percy Jackson series. Part of it is that all the demigods, which are the main characters, all of them have dyslexia. And so I know that was probably the first time that I read about that. Like, I knew what it was, but not really. And so that was part of that. Let me think. The Fault in Our Stars deals with, like, teen cancer patients, and then as well as, like, teen death and grief and things like that, where that's a subject not a lot of books go towards. I know I picked up the Divergent series, The whole point of Divergent is that they don't fit into the categories, and if you really think about it, she like the reason she unlocks the box is because oops, spoiler.
It's okay.
The reason she does that is because she's 100% doesn't fit into any of them, and so that's like her biggest strength is that she doesn't fit into a box, which I think is really important, especially in real life. But and the book shows that by the fact that she's thought that was what made her different, what made her wrong the whole time, and then you find out that no, that's what makes you right, basically.
And that's very really important for the really, really young people to understand that from the get-go.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, it's the differences that kind of add to who you are.
And then let's see, the Harry Potter books are obviously different backgrounds. You've got they call them muggles, which are the non-magical people. You've got kids from the wizarding world that grew up and have never known anything else. You've got kids that are coming from the muggle world who know nothing about magic. You've got a little bit of both. You've got all these things, and then you also have different like family backgrounds because with Harry Potter, his parents have been killed, and so he doesn't have any of that. And so it really shows the importance of friendship as well as kind of like you make your family's blood, but also friends, those that care about you. And especially in the later books, when talking about the downfall of what will be the end of the book, it's I think it's book 6. He talks about um, love. You've never been loved, and that's why I will beat you because I have been, and things like that. So it's really, really pushes that, which is really good. Got a lot of really good quotes in those books. Let's see. All the Bright Places is a book that me and my friend read, and it really hits on teen depression and teen suicide, which aren't my favorite topics to read about, but I think they're important to at least talk about, the same way that Speak is a YA book that talks about sexual assault. The Sun is also a Star. These are kind of newer books, I'd say, within the last 10 years as well. Actually, I don't know when Speak came out.
Would be older because that would be one that I had in one of my YA classes. It would be over 10 years ago.
Okay.
So that's probably the oldest out of all of them that you named.
Yeah, I know The Sun is also a Star. It came out, I want to say in 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. But that's about deportation, and so that's a lot of things a lot of people won't experience, and so that was good to read about. Also things like racial stereotypes and differences, and just assuming people based on quick judgments. The Catcher in the Rye deals a lot with depression, I think,
and that one's an old one.
Yeah, that's a really old one. We read that in high school.
Yeah. I read that in high school, if that tells you anything.
And then I've got here the Gallagher Girls series, which is a fictional series about a school, an all-girls school masquerading as a boarding school, but it's actually a school for spies. But that's what one of the main character feels. She's really good at being a spy because nobody notices her. She can blend in really well, and that's the first book is her relationship with somebody that doesn't know that she's a spy, because he noticed her. Like she was actively trying not to be noticed, and he like came up and talked to her and everything. So it's really cute, but also just like you can't blend in always. You can't, don't be a wallflower kind of thing. That's a really great series. I love those books. Those are like, I think there's 7 of them now. They're all like a play on words too, because the first one is I'd tell you I'd love you, but then I'd have to kill you. That's the first book. Out of sight, out of time, United We Spy. They're just, I like them. They're fun.
Are they easy reads?
Yeah.
More.
They're they're about like this,
Mm-hmm.
the Percy Jackson first series. They're a little smaller, pretty easy reads. They're really, there's always twists and turns. There's like an overarching mystery.
Entertaining.
Yes, very entertaining. I mean, if you like spies, 'cause
Who doesn't?
Right. And then I also picked up, this is Crank, which we read when I was in high school, and it deals with addiction and I'm trying to think. I think teen pregnancy, a lot of different hot topic things, as well as it's written in poetry format. So if you really like poetry, it might be something you really breeze through, because it's a really big book. I said really big. It's a thick book, but it's not.
It's not page.
Yeah, it's
top
not
of the page
full.
to the bottom of the page. Yeah.
And then I think the last one that I have that I pulled up here is The Book Thief again, and it's about a young girl living during the Holocaust and kind of what makes someone who they are, and just it really puts you in the perspective of what it was like to live during that time, because we know what it was like here, and we've heard stories about in the camps a lot. We read Night, I think that's that book.
Yes.
So we read a lot about those, but this is based on a German girl growing up in Germany, and that's also about what makes a family, because her parents, she doesn't know what happened to them, and so it's a lot about that, as well as they house someone running, and it's a lot of what good versus bad. What are you willing to do to stand up for what's right versus what's going to keep you safe? And so it's a lot of those topics, which my high school book club class, we actually read The Book Thief and Speak and The Sun is Also a Star, and then in the English class we read Crank. And so I think that's where a lot of these come from, is different points of view, and I'm sure that's why she picked them, is to help widen our perspective on things.
Well, I have my list.
Okay, yeah, go through it.
From the class that and don't ask me to give you a full synopsis on these because that was a long time ago, but you mentioned Speak. We did the out. Now these are all smaller books because we were breezing through. I think this was a 6-week class, so we had to turn it around really fast. We did The Outsiders, Lord of the Flies, Monster, The Chocolate War, Whale Talk, and The Catcher in the Rye. And those are smaller books, so you can breeze through them. But they hit on a lot of hard topics too. Yeah.
You want to talk about them?
No.
Okay. Which one did you like reading the most?
Thinking back, it seems like Monster and The Chocolate War were the most intriguing for me. But all of them are interesting. Just number one, it's nice because they're a short read, but you get a lot in that short amount of time, and it allows you to relate to somebody. And I was not a teenager when I was reading these as well. Well, a couple of them I read in high school as well, but for the most part, this was a class that I was taking when I was in my mid-30s. So I was still looking at it from an adult perspective, looking at the teenagers that were in these books. So it gives me a different perspective than if you were to read these and come up with your own synopsis. But they were interesting, and they hit on a lot of the topics that, not spies. There were no spies in these books. So, yeah.
Some of them are just fun stories that mix in good things, and other ones they're good stories that are written for the purpose of talking about important subjects. So,
and sometimes you have some of the lighter books that do mix in some of those harder topics, um, that maybe would be for a little bit younger group, or just to just make your mind think about these things and not just totally rip your heart out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got anything else? Or are you ready for my questions?
I'm ready for your question.
Oh,
Hopefully.
Here we go. Okay. So, let's say you're having a little dinner party.
Okay.
Name your top 5 characters that you're going to invite over so that you can have them sitting at your table.
Out of any book.
Any book.
5. Okay. I think I'd probably do Hermione Granger. And then I would maybe Annabeth Chase from Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series. Cami Morgan from the Gallagher Girl series. I don't know. I think maybe I really like Katniss Everdeen, but Peeta Mellark from the Hunger Games. I have one more. Yeah, probably then Michael Vey from the Michael Vey series. I just think those are just characters I really like and I can relate to. That was hard because I'm like thinking of all the other people I could invite.
I knew you would have a hard time. So she took so much time because she was narrowing it down, not because she couldn't think of people she wanted.
Right. I was like, well, that would be good. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I think that'd make a good dinner table, too.
Because you want discussion.
Right.
You don't want somebody who's just going to sit there and eat.
Yeah. Well, you gotta, that's what Peeta's coming in that Katniss because he's the talker.
Yeah.
Not her. But
good call.
Thanks.
Good call. Is there one thing that sticks out? A lot of times in your YA novels, there's symbolism everywhere. Is there one item of symbolism that sticks out for you in anything?
I can't think of one that just like an overarching for all of them, or just one that I
just one in particular for one particular book or one particular series, or just anything that sticks out to you, or your favorite item of symbolism.
I think sometimes I really like. I'm trying to think.
I'm just thinking back to when I was like in middle school and my mind was blown when I had a teacher standing there telling me that, well, what's written on the page isn't it's not necessarily what they mean.
What they
you
mean.
might what? Wait, what?
Yeah, I guess like that biggest thing for me was in my Great Books class at USF was we read Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and just like concepts like that of that book really mixed reality with Shakespeare with books, and I think that really hit for me because with all these fandoms and why like people live this they're really into it, they go to cosplay, they do all these things, and it's more than just a book to them. And then for this Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, the whole book it's about the fact that they have no life outside of the Shakespeare play, and they're only alive from the moment that they are introduced to the moment that they're killed, and then it starts over again. And it was just like mind-blowing for me, and that class had a lot of really good discussions like that, and yeah, so if you go to USF and you really like to read, I suggest taking the Great Books course. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other symbolisms. I guess in the Hunger Games, like kind of be wary of those put in superiority above you, like or stand up for what's right, no matter. That's in a lot of books. It's just to stand up for what's right. I know there's quite a few of them. I guess I don't know if I'm not definitely not talking about symbolism. I'm talking about themes, but um, that not everything is black and white. Mm-hmm. There's good and bad, and a lot of I know, especially in like the Percy Jackson series, like people that are bad have been there. There's a reason why they ended up that way, and especially for kids' book, there's a lot of redemption, especially towards the end. And so, or that things that rivals and things that have always been might have been started on something false or don't need to be that way. Mm-hmm. And so, do you have any symbolism that you want to talk about?
No, a lot of the ones that I would have gotten into back were darker, and you had a lot of the bullying or the death and stuff like that, and what all the symbols were that pointed to that. Yeah. Because that's where the foundation of YA was. That's what it was kind of built on. And I mean, honestly, I would think back to probably Salinger probably had no idea that his book was going to end up being a YA book.
Right.
I mean, back when that was written.
Or how huge it was going to be when he was first writing it.
Yeah.
I did hear that he has prevented it from becoming a movie. That's not allowed even after is he still alive? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure on that.
I know we talked about that when we read it because he was very adamant on that it should not become a film, which I think is probably it'd be a great movie to watch, but it's probably better to if you want to read it, you got to read it. You can't just pop in a disc and watch it.
Yeah, and I guess that if I were to watch a movie based on a book, I always look at it that they're two separate entities. That I don't even assume that it's going to be if there would have been such a thing as a DVD back when I was in high school, I wouldn't have watched the DVD and assumed that it was going to be the same thing that I was going to write my report on. Because number one, I wouldn't have wanted to screw up like that because oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't know. I much prefer the books.
Yeah.
Not a movie person.
Plus, I like to take books with me when I go places. And so then you can sit there and you can, when you need to do something or you just put a bookmark in, and in a movie, you feel compelled to sit there and watch it. Which you don't always have time for that.
Nope. Yeah, isn't that weird that, yeah, you can read a book in 20 settings, but, and you can read a book on your phone in 20 settings. So you could, in theory, watch a movie in 20 settings if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you don't. Yeah. I don't know.
And that's what, sometimes, what was it? It was, this movie's 4 hour long. Wow, that's such a commitment. But you can watch 4 episodes of a TV show, right in a row with no problem. And it's just for the same reason you can read a book, 5 chapters at a time, and it's not a big deal, you're fine. But some people look at really big chapter books and go, wow, I'm not going to start that because I don't want to read it. It's going to take too long. And well, especially if you get engulfed into it, it's not going to take you that long at all.
No, that becomes a problem. Yeah.
I know sometimes I get really into it and I'll scan the page for the next dialogue bit and then I'll skim until I get to that part because I want to keep going. Probably not the best.
No thanks, I don't need supper tonight. I got this.
That's what I know we did when we did book reports in school. The one day I was home and I knew I was going to have to do one, and so then I picked a book and I read it. And so the book logs are supposed to be what day you read what pages. Well, I put timestamps because I sat there and I read the book, which was kind of ridiculous. I definitely read from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. But I mean, I did take breaks in there because I had to.
Wow.
But yeah, she kind of looked at the paper and was like, really? She thought it was funny too, though. Wow. So.
Yeah, because who's gonna lie about that? I mean,
right.
Yep, seriously did. There you go.
It was also, I'm pretty sure it was the last one, and so she knew me and my reading style by then, and was, come on.
You gotta do what you gotta do. All right, one more.
Okay.
If you could change the setting of any book that can pop into your head, I mean, can you think of a book that you could change the setting of that would just totally change the aspect of the book, or you just think it would be cool, or it would turn it into a different book, or just anything, just mess with the setting?
If I could mess with the setting, if I could really like change everything, that would be like a completely different book.
Mm-hmm.
You could put the Hunger Games in space.
Oh no. I see a movie. Yeah.
I just think because it's so dependent on the fact that you can just put everybody in space, different planets and things like that.
Uh-huh.
I'm
That
trying
would
to
be
think.
interesting.
It wouldn't even be the Hunger Games. It'd just be so funny to me. Somebody should write that.
Do they each get their own little space jet?
Well, I think you could have the games on a planet. You know how they changed the arena?
Oh,
They
yeah.
put them on a whole different planet. Which I don't think it would work because not all planets can support anything.
They'd have to figure it out. They'd have to learn how to survive.
Right. That'd be the whole. You wouldn't have to fight each other. You just have to
Fight the planet.
Figure out how to survive.
There you have it.
Yeah.
That looks like you've thought about that one before.
I don't. It really just popped into my head. I'm really surprised.
Impressive.
I'm trying to think. Basically, you could put almost any book in space though, and it'd be really different though. I think.
That would be for sure.
Or like think about Star Wars on Earth. How lame would that be?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be a little tame.
Yeah. It'd be hard to blow up another planet. Yeah. The Death Star would be really pointless.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What else could you change about a book? Well, the Septimus Heap series is set in like Renaissance time period, so you could really, like, if you did it now, that would be like, it would definitely change the whole. It'd be instead of like fantasy, it would be like post-apocalyptic if you tried to set it now. So that could be interesting. If you wanted to keep all of the same elements.
Yeah, you want to keep all the same elements. You want to just totally change the setting.
Mess with everything.
Yeah. It would just be interesting. You just transport people from where they seem to belong in time and then put them in a different setting. Nice. Yeah. Good answers.
Thank you. I mean, you can put The Fault in Our Stars in the 80s. That'd be different too.
Everything's better in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. For sure. Totally. All right. So, for now, this is our last installment of this. But you never know. I'm sure that Katie has some breaks from school and stuff like that. So maybe we will hook up with her at a different time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. So maybe we'll be seeing her around. But we are glad that she stopped in. We thank her for her help this summer.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. So we'll see you all. Watch for our other Montpelier Library videos on Facebook and on our YouTube channel under Montpelier Library. Thank you.
Bye.